This is madness. She ran, but it was too late. The cut to her wrist had been made, and it was much deeper than what the traveler had promised. She dropped into the dust like a sinking ship, the brittle grasses swallowing her whole. The man buried her in the barren earth. When he rose the next morning, sunflowers with butter-yellow petals surrounded the spot. The land whispered, "More." "I will get you more," the man replied. Then he began to build. As other travelers came to the wretched land, they saw what the man had begun to create. They saw the opportunity to start anew amid the golden fields. Finally, they stayed. Yet the land had tasted blood, and it wanted more. The traveler did not tell his next wife before he brought out the knife.
Chapter 1. The day Delilah's mom disappeared, there was a wilted sunflower on the bathroom sink. 2 years later, all that was left was a smudge of yellow, a stain she could only see in just the right light. On that day, she'd woken up for school and stumbled into the tiny bathroom on the 3rd floor in this dusty old house, still achy from the night before. She'd spent a full minute poking at the bags under her eyes before she'd noticed the brown butter petals hanging limp over the faucet. It wasn't necessarily odd for Indigo Cortez to leave bits and bobs around the house, soiled paintbrushes and rolls of washi tape trailing after her like breadcrumbs. But Delilah's mother was an artist. She had a taste for color, for light. She liked things that felt alive. Delilah had held that half-dead sunflower in her palm for only a second before tossing it in the trash. Such a shriveled thing couldn't belong to her mother. Now she knew to hold on to things a little tighter, a little longer. There were no more sunflowers, dead or alive, in the last house on Old Fairview Lane, except for the obstinate ones across the road that refused to stop multiplying. It shouldn't have annoyed Delilah as much as it did. Kansas was the sunflower state. And in a town like Bishop, all wide-open fields the color of corn silk, even in the high heat of summer, it only made sense they continued to spread. Bishop was surrounded by them, a wall of aggressive yellow looming on the periphery, with their empty, unreadable faces. They always seemed to be looking in, no matter which direction the sun faced. Delilah had always felt watched by them, but lately, something was different. It felt like they were listening, too. At least she could keep them out of the house. She stood at the kitchen window, watching the flowers lurch in the wind. It had started to pick up in the last hour, even though her phone said the winds wouldn't come in until later that night. The app was wrong, though, like it often was about Bishop's weather. The storm was already here. Delilah could feel it in the pea-green sky hanging low overhead, the way static electricity in the air clung to her like a briar patch. She bustled to the back of the house and yanked open the door to the storage closet. A riot of faded roof shingles, splintered patio furniture, oil cans and buckets rusted shut, and cardboard boxes, so many boxes, sat cluttering up the room. These were the things she had to choose from, a graveyard of broken things, to prevent even more broken things. Flattened boxes to shore up the windows, shingles and old sheets and painter's tarps to drape over sharp objects, the furniture to push in front of the doors when it was going to be a really bad one. She stared at the boxes, contemplating. The last thing Delilah wanted to do was call all the girls before the weather was even a thing. She could already hear Whitney's voice on the other end. "Oh my God, Delilah, chill." Feel the breeze in the doorway as Jude marched past her, clearly annoyed. And Beau. Honestly, it didn't matter what Delilah told Beau. She had never been one to listen. They already thought she was overprotective, and that she'd only gotten worse with time. They weren't wrong, exactly. Once all the custody papers